only here on Z90.7 WZIS.
Little bit of a throwback intro there. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in to your favorite Indiana State sports talk show from 6 to 7 here on Z90.7 WZIS. I hear Coby Clark, and as always, my man, Joe.
Joseph DeLon Moore.
What up, Joe? How are
back.
you? What is up? What is new in the life of my man, Joseph Moore?
Man, a whole lot of science activities and everything. Definitely a fun field to study, but still very mentally draining. But I like to be here. This is my relax. This is my escape, Mr. Clark. So
Absolutely.
I'm ready to talk some sports.
Love this job. Love getting to show up around here, around you guys. Work with some great coworkers.
Love you, Coby.
I love you, Joe.
Aw.
And you know the best thing about it? Everyone and anyone can come through here and has a chance to work at WZIS or in any part of student media, really. Just room 323 on the third floor of Dreiser Hall if you're interested whatsoever. If you're watching on our Twitch, shout out to you. We have a new graphic where we have our Sports Extra logo, the WZIS logo, our names, just a whole new vibe. We have all of our tags and social medias, including our TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube page where we re-upload all of the Sports Extra and Sports Extra Uncuts from Mondays and Tuesdays. Joe, it's 6:04 p.m., and a lot of people must be listening to this thinking, hey, isn't there a basketball game tonight? Well, in fact, there is. There will be a pregame show starting at 6:45 after the conclusion, so unfortunately for Sports Extra fans, we're going to have to run this one a little bit short, only about half an hour, 6 to 6:30, but we're still going to get a lot of topics, and one big thing that happened today in the pro sports world. But let's us first start it off with some local news, which is obviously Indiana State University. There's a basketball game tonight, the men's and women's. The women's team came back today. They played at 11 a.m. at the Holman Center and came back in the fourth quarter to win by 2. So they start out great, 1-0 on the season. Hopefully the men can follow them up.
Yeah, completely. It's a really good win for the women's. Again, it was really a lot of questions going into the season based on the exhibition game. The exhibition game didn't look too good when it comes to the ISU women's, but with this win coming back, it's all about that resilience in sports, how you respond to when you're down, when that momentum completely shifts. What are you going to do to get back up? And it looks like this ISU women's team knows how to get back up.
I'm actually 100% agreeing with you, Joe. I mean, we talk about it. One thing that happened in today's game, momentum. Momentum can drain an opponent because it's just so hard to stop when everything on the floor, on the field, whatever sport it is clicking. It's hard to stop that feeling. And unfortunately, for the other team, Indiana State did win. So shout out to them, 1-0 on the season. They did defeat St. Louis. But for the men's, they play tonight at 7 p.m. Starting out the new season, they're taking on Green Bay Phoenix at 7 p.m. They're looking to start the season out strong, just like the women did. They have a very promising future ahead of them. A couple thoughts on the basketball team I want to talk about first. First off, they had an exhibition game on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where me and Blake had the call for that one. Very impressive. This team is fast. It's quick. It's explosive. And I think there's a lot of success coming their way this year. Joe, I just want to get your quick thoughts on it because I have a few interviews on play right here, both from Coach Schertz after Tusculum on Tuesday and the leading scorer of that game, Calix Stevens, who ended with 21.
Pace, pace, pace. You know, one of my favorite things, and of course I'm going to link this back to my favorite team on the planet Earth, the Pacers. Pace is an important thing when it comes to this new modern brand of basketball. And over the last couple of years for ISU men's basketball, we didn't have a terrible pace, don't get me wrong. But, you know, once we had that head coach change, it's like the momentum and the pace and just like the overall intensity of Sycamore's basketball just increased.
Yes.
And you can see that when it comes to the box score, how, you know, fluid the game was when it comes to the passing and the ball movement, because that's really what determines the pace, is the ability to share the rock. And so, you know, what this team looked like, especially when it comes to the exhibition game, is this team had pace. It looked like it played together, ball movement. They had a couple of guys who you would think would have to, you know, would score a lot in the exhibition game. Didn't really score all that much. Cooper Neese only had 3 points. Like, he had a couple of guys like, you know, Stevens, who just had, you know, who led the game in scoring with 21, who's really an inside guy who's just going to dunk all over you, get strong, big body layups on people. And a lot of those close inside shots are going to come from that ball movement, come from that pace. You know what I mean? They, fail to close out on the rotation. There's a guy just sitting on the block, and that's an easy 2 points. That's a bunny right there. So it's an amazing thing to have when you're, in a program who lost, one of the key players for the program, that being Tyreek Key. And, moving forward in this basketball season for the Sycamores, the question is who's going to step up? Who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the Cooper Neese? Who's going to be the primary scorer?
There's a lot of good options, I'll have to say.
That's really the question because, oh, my goodness, no short list of people who can actually step up and average close to 16 to 18 for the squad.
This team's deep.
It's deep.
Absolutely.
It is really deep and really good coaching. There's something special brewing in the Holman this year.
Really like Coach Schertz. I got the opportunity to interview him after the Tusculum win on Tuesday.
For sure.
I'm going to play that interview for all of you listening, either on Twitch or wherever you are listening on 90.7. Real quick for you, we're going to take some notes away from it and then talk about and dissect what he had to say. So don't go anywhere. Here is an interview with myself and head coach of the Sycamores, Josh Schertz. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very much success coming towards your way, I think, in this season.
Appreciate it.
Anything that you could be taking away coming up to Green Bay, the first real challenge you guys got? Regular season starting coming up.
Yeah, I mean, well, we know, competition is gonna elevate. Green Bay. I think there's a lot of, they were, first game last year, so we have some familiarity with how they play, but it's really a whole new team, right? So they have, I think, 9 or 10 new scholarship players out of 13, so it's really a brand new group. We're going to have to be, we'll be a little bit blind, in terms of, what they're going to do. We return a lot, so they'll have a lot more info on us than we'll have on them. But I'd trade the experience, that we have for the information, right? And so, I think everybody's excited to get to play. I think everybody's excited to challenge themselves. I think, guys have been chomping the bit for the regular season to start, and we're all everybody's tired of beating up on themselves. We started this preseason June 6th, and the runway is exceptionally long. So everyone's excited. I think we've learned a lot. I think these two outside competitions have been really beneficial. We've taken a lot of lessons from them. We'll learn a lot from this tonight, but everybody's chomping the bit to get started Monday night here against Wisconsin Green Bay and get this thing kicked off for real and hopefully start this journey together. It's a great group. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the next few months together. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think one thing that from that interview the number one thing I could be taken away from that is the fact that they're ready. They've been waiting since the summer, probably since the ending of last season to get to this point. And in this part of a new chapter of Indiana State men's basketball. They're hungry for it. They want it. They gave out a great showing against Tusculum. And now with Green Bay coming up in a few minutes on 90.7, there's a lot of fun. And I think head coach Josh Schertz really alluded to it and pinpointed that out as the number one reason. And Joe, just your quick thoughts on what Josh Schertz had to say.
Yeah, like he said, Green Bay is a really new team. Again, a lot of transfers, a lot of new faces to this program. And when you have a lot of new faces to a program in general, it's going to have a slow start normally. There's going to be a slow start. There's going to be some gelling, some meshing and stuff. And like we said earlier with the women's game, momentum. Once with those new teams that momentum's not on their side, when they start out on a rough note, sometimes they fail to respond. Sometimes it's really slow. So again, with this team, this Sycamores team, I do think they have an edge. There was no real coaching change when it comes to the Green Bay. When it comes to the Green Bay or the Sycamores, so the game plans should look at least somewhat similar. There's a little bit of familiarity, like he said, with this squad. So with Indiana State, I don't think it's going to be too tall of a task to beat this team. But it's all about execution. It's all about playing the right game. And like they said, they're chomping at the bits to get this season underway. So, here we go. Here we are, and I think they're going to get after it tonight.
I think just a few names that are going to impress a lot of fans out there. And please, if you're a fan, go show out and support this team.
Yes, sir.
Because this team means a lot to not just the university, but just the town of Terre Haute.
100%.
There is a whole lot of love and a whole lot of readiness. I mean, they're just ready. I mean, they just have a lot going for them. Let's go down the list. You know, Xavier Bledson, his defense and his length that comes with it. He's a little bit experienced coming from Lincoln Memorial.
And his passing as well. Like,
yes.
This is a guy who's 6'6", who really, like, he's listed as a guard, but he also plays, like, more like a point forward.
Yes,
really.
yes, he does.
You know, a person who gets in his connection with Cooper Neese, absolutely amazing. You don't see that type of connection. It's like that, like, OJ connection in 2K a few years ago. It's just that, like, connection that you just don't see often between two players. It's amazing. I really love watching Bledson play.
Julian Larry, he came off the bench to begin the Tusculum game, but he will be starting tonight in the starting lineup. He brings the experience just from last season, bringing it into this season. And Rob Martin, one guy that he's not going to play a whole lot this season, but he is quick with his handles, his speed, and agility. Just, you know, something that reminded me a little bit of, I guess, a Kyrie Irving sort of thing, because he's got some nice moves that come along with it. We're going to go back to Calix Stevens here in a little bit, but Cooper Neese, I mean, legend here at Indiana State, legend at Cloverdale High School. And he absolutely, I pinpointed this as well on Tuesday, the fact that Cooper Neese, he didn't score that many points, but the fact that he can go out there and he doesn't have to be relied on this season, 100%. He's got so many options out there. Cameron Crawford, he didn't even play in that game, and he is going to play a huge factor this season.
For sure.
Cameron Henry, another guy who didn't play on Tuesday, but he will be ready to go just as much as Crawford. Jason Kent, he's 6'8", and he moves like a guard. It's insane. This man has the knack to rebound. And one man that I was going to talk about a little is Robbie Avila, who came off the bench in that Tuesday game. He is something that I mean, he's a hard worker.
He's a freshman, right?
Yes, he is. He crashes the boards, and he just gets every opportunity you can, and he's a great player to play with. Great teammate.
He's a big boy.
Yes, he is.
Big boy for sure.
Macaulay, one of the he'll be playing as well. We all know him. He came from DePaul, so I mean, he has that leverage towards his name. He can definitely play. Played here actually in Indianapolis at Manual. If you didn't know that.
Oh, Manual Christian.
Yes, sir. Manual High School. Zach Hobbs, he can come off the bench, shoot a three if you need to. Trent Gibson, he started on Tuesday. Don't believe he will be starting tonight, but we'll find out. Stay tuned here and you'll listen to that. And then Cade McKnight, someone else who is very impressive as well. So this whole team up and down the roster, very exciting. And another player I didn't really mention a whole lot was Calix Stevens. And that is because this man was an absolute unit on the court. Yeah. He scored 21 on Tuesday. I don't even know if he's going to start is the crazy thing. And, you know, just this whole team, Joe, let me ask you again, Calix, what does a kind of guy like this bring to a team like this?
You always want to have one of those energy big men or a person who's a forward who can run the floor, especially when you have really good, you know, ball handling and, you know, passing guards.
Yes.
Because, like, you think of players like Bismack Biyombo on the Suns. Like, that's a guy who's not really the most talented big. You know, he basically just runs, jumps, dunks, center, right?
Yeah.
But when you have a guard like Chris Paul, for example, you know, Chris Paul is a type of guard who could just make his big man better. Like, Chris Paul made, you know, DeAndre Jordan an All-NBA first team, you know, in 2012. Like, DeAndre Jordan should not be an NBA.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Those Lob City Clipper days.
And that's just an example of how, you know, how those types of centers or those types of forwards can absolutely just bring a different type of energy. Like, when we talk about, we said momentum probably like 5 times this cast. When we talk about momentum, when you see that big man get that lob, get that dunk, get that hard finish, the and one, and finish the play with the extra point, those are the types of things that can really change a drive and then just be the definition of a scoring output by a team. And then, you know, not even to talk about the defense and stuff, like we've seen more and more now that we have these rangy forwards, rangy centers that are more versatile because they can guard the perimeter a little bit more and then not just be like, just sturdy in the paint. You know, they can actually just, you know, be a little bit more rangy. And I think that's what Stevens is as well. So you always need to have this guy in this new age of basketball who can do a whole lot for this team. So, yeah.
Yes. And I also sat down, interviewed with Calix Stevens after the win on Tuesday against Tusculum. We're going to play that one. Only a minute long, so stay tuned. And then we'll talk about it, what happens. And then we'll get into some more football with ISU real quick. There's a very notable thing that happened to one of our best players on the football field. And then crazy news that struck the NFL today. Calix, congratulations on 21 points in the victory. You got Green Bay coming up. What are your season expectations? I mean, you mentioned a good group of guys around you. What are your thoughts going into it?
I mean, season expectations. I mean, everybody, is going to say win the Valley, but I think for us, we want to win the Valley, but it's what it takes to to get there to win the Valley. So the day-to-day work that we put in, things like that to lead up to that. Because my coach always tell us, we're not going to win championships, with clean, pretty hands. So we got to do those things, the dirty things, clean that stuff up, and then come March when we're sharpening everything up. I mean, hopefully we're on top. And then, like I said, you mentioned the group of guys and stuff like that. You got Robbie, who's going to be a terrific player here at Indiana State. Then you got other guys that's experienced too. Trent Gibson, Voss, Henry that didn't even play. And you got Cade that didn't even play. I mean, you up and down the roster, we're going to be pretty good. So, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of obvious just from that 1 minute conversation with Calix Stevens is that something's different. Something's different in that locker room. Mm-hmm. There's a sort of bond that this team has, and I think it's going to show out not just for tonight, but a very high success rate because obviously everybody expects greatness. You can't expect it just like that. I mean, look at the Pacers, for example. Look at the Colts. High expectations, and then something really bad happened today, or a good thing. It depends on your point of view. But something like this definitely gives you a lot of high hopes, not just as a student here, a local, just a fan of the game.
It's like a fresh start.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like this blank canvas that these players who, had this whole preseason, just workout regimen all together, know each other, know the game very well, just have that bond, like you said. And through that interview, it just looks like they're deep and they're ready. So they're going to get after it this season. There's something nice happening, man.
100% with you there, Joe. Every home game you can hear right here on Z90.7 WZIS. Follow along on Twitter as well. So we'll give you live updates on that. So congratulations to the women's team tonight, and good luck to the men's team as well. Mm-hmm. Hope for a great season. Coach Killinger did 1-0. Let's see if Coach Schertz can do the same thing. Let's go now into football, the sport of it all, Indiana State and Indianapolis Colts. One thing I really want to pinpoint here, I was on the call for Saturday, and it's real tough right now for this Sycamore team.
I'm not gonna lie, I did listen to that entire call by you guys.
Oh wow!
And it was just rough. I could just tell just the energy behind it. It was just flat.
It's upsetting. I mean,
tragic.
They had some very high seasons, but this one's just not a high season. There's a few things. The lights just turned off here in the station. Well, this is weird if you're watching on our Twitch. Whoa. Joe, throw your arms up in the air. Push that button. See if that'll turn it on. An error. Oh, no. And we're back to brightness. There we go.
Let there be light.
Whoa, Joe. I didn't know you were getting so inspirational. No, you're good. But, yeah, anyway, going back to what the Sycamore football team has had this season, I mean, it's just tough. There's been some highs, but the lows outweigh it for sure.
It's crazy, just comparison. The ratio between good and bad this season, definitely the bad has it.
One thing I want to note here, and give credit where credit is due. Give this man his flowers, his roses, whichever flower he likes. Give him whatever. Dante Hendrix, a star here at Indiana State University. He's just really nice, a really good dude off the field. I've chatted with him a few times. He's just super down to earth. Dante Hendrix did, in fact, set the Indiana State career receiving mark record in the second quarter on a 5-yard slant to surpass Sam Logan, and he becomes the program's all-time leader. Hendrix finished the game with 5 catches for 37 yards. Not his best performance whatsoever, but giving him 2,408 yards with 2 more games remaining. Western Illinois this Saturday on the road, and then final home game of the season against Missouri State.
Shout out to him, man. Really a fantastic accolade that you have. Not too many guys can, attest, even sniff that, especially when it comes to the Indiana State program. So we respect the dedication. We respect you. Shout out you, Hendrix.
I really respect how he's never ran away either. He never left.
Never left the grind.
I'm not saying he's had offers. Maybe he hasn't. But, sticking with the program, sticking it out here, he's definitely one to be remembered by fans for many reasons.
Props for that.
So, Yes, shout out to you, Dante Hendrix. To recap the game, it really started out real quick and out of the gate fast. I mean, Garrett Mag for North Dakota caught a 25-yard passing touchdown from Tommy Schuster, who's the North Dakota Fighting Hawks quarterback. Really good man. Saw him play all day. He was good. Justin Dinka did, in fact, run it back, though. 2-yard rushing touchdown, and former starter Gavin Screws, who was replaced during the season of Kate Chambers. Kate Chambers played a few good games. We've talked about it many times on Sports Extra. Right. He unfortunately went down early in this one. Gavin Screws comes in, plays a great second quarter, and then something happened where, just an 11 for 20 game, not his best performance. Sure, you're not expecting to come in, but when your number's called, you got to be ready. He had 130 passing yards, had an interception. So I don't know the update on Kate Chambers just quite yet, or if Gavin Screws will be the starter. So Evan Elias, he actually led the team in rushing because he got thrown in towards the very end of the game, and he had just one huge, almost 60, maybe 50-yard rush. So shout out to him. But every other score was pretty much North Dakota. I mean, Tyler Usman, one of their running backs, he scored back-to-back runs. Red Wilson, very explosive, marked down as a wide receiver, but this man somehow, I think he's a running back. He gives me vibes of Deebo Samuel. And then Isaiah Smith, another running back, he caught a pass. So shout out North Dakota. They just joined the Valley this season, and they are going to be tough for future seasons to come. And congratulations. I mean, they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah, set the tone early.
Absolutely.
Can't hate it.
As I said earlier, Indiana State has two more games left. One more home game next week. This Saturday, they're going on the road to take on Western Illinois at 2 p.m. And then one more final home game. That will be the 19th of November. Don't want to miss it. If you can't make it, you can listen right here live. It's at 1 p.m. And it is against Missouri State. So shout out to Sycamores. Let's talk about the final thing, as this will be a short episode, unfortunately, due to the basketball game. It will be the breaking news that hit the NFL world today. Former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich, has been fired.
Packed up.
Yep. Gone. See you later. He is no longer employed by a football team as of right now. Do I think he will be hired next season? Absolutely. He's a great mind. Fair. It's just there's a lot of things that went on, whether it be him, whether it be the injuries, whether it be Chris Ballard, whether it be the fans. I don't know. There's a lot of expectations, but Joe, your quick thoughts?
I mean, I wasn't surprised by this news. I was kind of surprised how it came out, because from the reports leading up to this announcement, it was kind of like, okay, he's safe, because it looks like the move to Sam Ehlinger to quarterback was front office decision.
Yeah.
So, and, Frank Reich, agreed. He stepped back and was like, okay, we're going to have this QB start, this 6th-rounder start. And obviously it didn't go well. So I was surprised that he followed every single one of the rules that the front office said. And, he still ended up jobless, not homeless. I hope not homeless. Shouldn't be homeless.
Oh, my God. I hope not.
Unemployed. And so, again, I'm just kind of surprised by how it kind of came out. I would figure that this was a decision that we'd be making around week 10, or closer to week 10, week 11. However, it is what it is. We're here now, and for me, I think this is the correct decision. I feel like this squad was almost, sucked of all of its soul. Like, there was no soul, there was no passion in what this squad was representing. And even, especially with all the contracts that were
it's okay, Joe.
Dealt out.
We understand you're going through a hard time right now.
No, it's a hard time for us Colts fans. I'm still just discombobulated by this announcement, man.
I couldn't imagine. Well, yeah.
But, dealt out this offseason when it comes to, from the O-line to the running back to the defense, just all these contracts given out. And let's not underappreciate the role that the front office had in this decision.
No, 100% with
It's just going on, spending all of those picks on just QBs that just didn't work out. Watch
Interesting.
QB after watch QB.
I mean, we go from Andrew Luck to Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Yeah. Here we are with Sam Ehlinger, and who knows we'll be having starting next year.
Who knows?
Maybe Nick Foles will get a shot.
It's honestly disheartening in so many ways.
Understandable.
This whole division in the AFC South was just ripe.
How do you know how I feel?
Yeah, ain't that crazy?
It's insane.
You know where it's coming from now.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then, like, just a series of unfortunate events, miscommunications, bad start. But the Colts are used to having bad start, but this is a bad start considering
This
who
is
you
not a
had.
good start.
It's just
I don't
tough.
think they'll make playoffs.
It's just tough.
AFC's tough. I mean, you got the Jets,
I don't
Dolphins,
care.
Bills.
No, the
Like,
AFC
that's just the
South
East.
is not tough. I don't care about the AFC.
Will the Colts win the division?
when it comes,
I doubt it.
it's crazy because the Colts low-key kind of have a chance still, which is insane because it's the AFC South. But still, it's like I just and I say the AFC South in general because of how many AFC South divisional matchups that the Colts had to begin the season. So you faced the Titans twice,
Yep.
and then you pretty much face everybody in the AFC South by now. Like it's preposterous that this is what the record is after facing everybody.
A little
in the
bit,
AFC
little
South.
bit.
Pretty much the entire AFC South is in like the bottom, 6 or 8 of the power rankings. It's like
It's not fun. Texans are at number 1.
it's insane. It is absolutely
So-
insane. So I think it's a really good move, and I hope it's insane. Jeff Saturday is the head coach.
That's
of
what I was
the
going to bring it
football
into real quick
But-
as breaking news struck the NFL world again about just half an hour later, maybe not even that. We hear Frank Reich gets fired. I mean, you got to assume the offensive coordinator, maybe the defensive coordinator, maybe an assistant coach.
But they fired the offensive coordinator though.
They did.
So
Out of nowhere, Jeff Saturday, former center, played with Peyton Manning for a very long time, ended his career with one season on the Packers. No one remembers that, but one of the all-time fan favorite Colts has taken over as the interim head coach in Indianapolis. Blowing my mind. My first thoughts on this, I was like, okay. The only thing that I could really allude to was kind of the Steve Nash information, where Steve Nash really had no. I'm not saying he didn't have any coaching experience because he was definitely with the Warriors for a few seasons as like a player coach, assistant, but no head coaching experience. Exactly. Jeff Saturday has head coaching experience in high school football. He skips college, skips all the other parts of Colts, any head coaching jobs. He just goes straight to the interim head coaching role. So he's had talks with the general manager in the front office for a couple times now. And here we are at this point where Jeff Saturday may honestly pretend to. I don't even think if they do bad, he might be the full-time head coach.
No, okay, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Let me hear it.
I'm predicting that Jeff Saturday is not gonna work out.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's
I
gonna
like
work
to
out
think
at
it
all.
will.
I like to think it will too because it's a cute story. But like Jim Irsay is a terrible owner. I don't think what is happening? Why are we choosing Jeff Saturday out of all the people? Why do we fire the offensive coordinator when we know there's so many questions revolving around the head coach? I get it. You don't like the offensive coordinator, but that's an easy backup after you do that. Like what's happening? And then you choose the former center that you even had employed as a center, like not too long ago. Like I was a child.
It was about 10 years.
Yeah, exactly, 10 years ago. But still, it's not like he's had all this. It's not like he just stopped playing football and straight to coaching and then just doing that.
He's been
straight
mostly
up.
as a popular figure on like ESPN.
Exactly. So what is we doing? This is the best option. You telling me this is the best option, Mr. Irsay? Like I don't understand. Was there a bottle in the meeting? I don't know.
There must be something going
There's
on.
something
in Indy.
going on.
It's
Joe
either
don't
for good or for worse, Joe. I'll say that. We'll leave it at that. I think, honestly, congratulations to Jeff Saturday.
Shout out to him.
It's pretty
Hey.
cool. It's a cool story.
It's
Absolutely.
a cool story. I don't think it's gonna work out. I don't think it's gonna have. A
Hey,
good
we'll
ending.
find out though.
But
We'll
hey,
find out.
We here.
Yeah, I do. I can blame Frank Reich. Do I think it's all his fault? No. I think it is Ballard's most fault. I think it's mostly Ballard's in my opinion.
I don't. The front office is just.
It's interesting.
It's like a that monkey that toy monkey that
Yes,
puts his,
with the
what are they called, the symbols together?
Yes. Yep.
That's just like 5 of them in a meeting for the front office for the Colts. Like I don't know what's happening.
Interesting take, Joe.
Yeah,
we're gonna leave it on that. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not go anywhere. Don't change that radio dial.
Better not. I'm watching.
Yep, Joe's watching. We have a men's basketball game starting up here at 7 p.m. Pre-game show, Zach Stidham and Ralph Council are back at the Holman Center right now, set up and ready to go whenever we give them the green light. We have our man Brendan, who, shout out to him, new music director at the station.
Claps,
Cool for him.
claps.
He will be the board op for tonight. So congratulations for him, I guess. Shout out to Zach and Ralph. Good luck. Good call. Don't go anywhere. This will be a fun season and a fun group of guys we have here at the station calling games this year. You can hear me. You can hear Joe, Zach, Ralph, Blake, Aaron, calling soon. Maybe even Chloe. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. So
For sure.
absolutely. Joe, I'm going to leave you at this. Any more last words you have to say about anything going on? ISU, the Colts, Pacers. Didn't really get to them today, unfortunately.
Yeah, last thoughts. ISU, let's get it when it comes to basketball season. Football, let's close out strong. Colts, let's, have some type of entertaining football played on Sundays, please, for the love of Christ. And for the Pacers, go Pacers.
Go Pacers. They're winning too much, I think.
They're scaring me. They're scaring me. I'm having a good time.
Love it. Benedict Mathurin,
Terrifying.
you're my guy.
It's like watching a scary movie. It's just like, I'm having a good time, but it's scary.
Absolutely. Understandable.
Benny for Rookie of the Year and Sixth Man of the Year. Let's get it going.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the women's team winning today against St. Louis. Shout out to the men's team trying to get this win tonight, start out the season just like the women's did at 1-0. Shout out Dante Hendrix for that crazy record. He definitely deserved it, my man. Shout out to the Twitch viewers we have following along with us. New sort of format we have. Tell us if you like it or not. Have all of our social medias listed there. You should go follow all of our social medias at WZIS-FM. It's going to be a lot of fun this season for sure. It's basketball season officially. Football season in high school is almost about to wrap up. Basketball is just around the corner. So stay tuned for the Green Bay versus Indiana State basketball game to be called here in just a few minutes. You don't want to miss this. For Joe Moore, myself, Kobe Clark, everyone have a great rest of your night. Stay safe. Take care. Until next time.
Thursdays from 7 to 9, tune into WZIS to listen to Alt